Yes, good evening. Thank you and welcome to our webinar. I would be your guest presenter for tonight. Let me share my screen. Again, I'm Christopher. Welcome. This is the class is sponsored and taught by Silicon Valley Score at siliconvalley.score.org. If you have any questions or concerns on growing your, oh, yes, okay. I want to make sure that I'm not mute. Score offers free consulting, additional classes, and other assistance in creating your business. What are you waiting for? Call them today. That's the contact number is provided at 408-453-6237, or you can also visit their website at siliconvalley.score.org. Guys, few days or few weeks from now, it's Thanksgiving Day. But before that, there are so much things that we can be thankful. Almost end of the year. That's why another is the forgiveness. We will go over about the Paycheck Protection Program. As of November 17, 7 p.m., we will talk about how it will be taxed. And this is part of our 4-week webinar series that started from the very beginning on November, and now we are on the 3rd week. But guys, stay tuned for next week because we will go over on how to turn your business losses to tax refunds. Therefore, you have much more reason to celebrate your Thanksgiving. I'm Chris Waikoko. I'm a CEO and business owner, tax professional. My company have more than 25 years of combined experience on this industry for tax, payroll, bookkeeping service. I'm also an IRS certified acceptance agent. Just to let you know, it's always been asked to me, what is an IRS acceptance agent? These are for people, we are certified by the IRS to authenticate documents like passport, birth certificate, medical records, for those applicants who would like to get a tax ID number or what you call ITIN. Therefore, if you have that kind of concerns, please, we are here to help. Also, I'm a 2018 SBA Minority Business of the Year because of our consistent contribution of providing free workshop seminars and all the SCORE chapters that we are part of. But more than anything than that, I'm also a SCORE. I have my mentors from SCORE. That's why I said you will get so much value on being part and finding a SCORE mentors. You won't imagine how many SCORE mentors I have. I have what, as of today, 8 different mentors with their own expertise from HR, accounting, operations, marketing. For the past 5 years, they really helped me to really put my business and scale up my business to the next level. That's why don't be hesitant to contact them. And the good thing, it's at zero cost. Yes, zero cost. That's why the best things in life are free, especially running your business. Okay, let's jump in the program. We are going to cover with the IRS Emergency Business Funds under the CARES Act. We are going to talk about taxation of PPP loan forgiveness. Do you still have the funding? Do you still have your PPP? Okay, we will go over that these materials, just a disclaimer guys, the materials of this webinar are intended to provide general information and guidance on the subject concerned. All right, hold on. I need to. I have to take it down. Sorry about that. Let me go back. Some technical difficulties. Okay, the examples and other materials on this webinar are only for illustrative purpose and should not be relied upon for technical answers. SCORE and the speakers take no responsibility for any errors or omissions in or for the loss of incurred by individuals or companies due to the use of the materials of this webinar. The webinar will last for at least 30 minutes. For those of you that are just jumping in on our webinar, you have to put your question on the Ask a Question box. All the questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. This session is being recorded and the recording link will be emailed to all participants. Let's have Gloria. This is our client, hypothetical client for the past 3 weeks. She's a 45-year-old single mom and owner of a restaurant running her business since 2014. When the COVID-19 happened, she was able to obtain $100,000 of PPP on the second quarter of 2020. The question, does she has to pay taxes on this fund? According to the IRS guidelines and under the CARES Act, the Paycheck Protection Program was established by Section 1102 of the
Hey,
CARES Act.
Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Bill from SCORE.
Yes.
I'm seeing a Forbes article, not the slide deck.
Oh, hold on.
Could you check what you have displayed on the screen? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Oh my. Okay, can you see the screen, right?
I think we're on. I think that's good. I think we're good now. Thank you. I
Oh, wow.
apologize for the interruption.
That's fine. Thank you. I don't even see my screen as well. All right. Okay, go back the taxation of the PPP loan forgiveness under the what's new on the Paycheck Protection Program that was established by Section 1102 of the CARES Act. Under the Paycheck Protection Program, a recipient of a covered loan may use the proceeds to pay the following. What are those? Number one is the payroll cost. Number two, certain employees' benefits relating to healthcare. Number three, interest on mortgage obligations. 4, rent. 5, utilities. And number 6, interest on any other existing debt obligations. Moreover, under this section of 1106B, under the CARES Act, a recipient of a covered loan can receive forgiveness of the indebtedness on the loan in an amount equal to the sum of payments made for the following expenses during the 8-week. All right, let me just stop you there. It's no longer 8 weeks because of the revision. They move it to, they give us 24 weeks. Beginning on the covered loans origination date, each uneligible section 1106, like what I've said, should be covered on the following. The payroll cost should be at least 60%, then the remaining is 40% in any payment of interest on any covered mortgage obligation, also any payment of the covered rent obligation and covered utility payment. So if you have rents, you can use this. If you are leasing your computer or what you call the printer, like on my end, I don't own the printer, but I lease it. That is part of the 40% that you can use. On the section 1106 defining the terms covered period, covered mortgage obligation, the covered rent obligation, covered utility, anything, all the utilities from your internet, your water, your electricity to your office will be part of the 40%. And also your mortgage interest, just to make sure it is not the mortgage itself. It's the interest that you are paying on your monthly bill. But what's the question is, would it be taxable? Like Gloria received 100,000 and she was able to utilize 100%, 60% for paying the employees and 40% for the other covered expenses. Just a reminder, as a result, any PPP loan amounts used for covered expenses will not be deductible to the extent that such loan amounts are forgiven. The tax consequences to a loan recipient will be the same as if the PPP loan amounts received were included in the gross income and subject to tax, which means to say, Gloria, if she receives $100,000 and she used it to pay her employees, she cannot use the $100,000 as a deduction on filing her tax return next year. For example, she has a $200,000 gross income, but her actual expenses to others are only $50,000. All right. So she cannot use the additional 100,000 that she got from the PPP. So therefore, the total business expense of Gloria is only $50,000. This guidance is unexpected considering that Congress expressly excluded the PPP loan amounts from gross income. If amounts were not excluded from the gross income, the tax result would be the same. Up to this point, the Congress, they are still trying to have, especially on the IRS on the IRS is very quiet about this. I don't know for the next few weeks or months that they will try to change anything about the tax treatment. We just finished the election. So hopefully before the end of the year, something came up. Additional guidance needed. Due to this unusual result, we are still waiting for further clarification from Congress on its intent behind the loan forgiveness provisions of the CARES Act. In addition to the deductibility of payroll-related expenses, questions remain as to whether the PPP loan forgiveness requires a reduction on two things: under the net operating loss on Section 108, and also for the partnerships and basis in partnership under Section 752. There you go. The other question, Chris, one of the frequently asked questions: if I am the sole owner of the company and I don't have an employee, can I issue myself the payroll under the PPP? The answer is yes. You can actually, if you're a sole proprietor, you can issue yourself. It is considered like owner's withdrawal, but you have either to write the check monthly. For example, you loan $10,000. So you have to issue or transfer $1,000 every month. But the problem, always remember, because you are paying yourself or you're using the owner's withdrawal, whatever you pay yourself, if from the PPP amount of money, you have to report that will be an earnings that you have to report and pay taxes on it on next year. Because by default, that is your income from the PPP. All right, so that's one of our frequently asked questions. Now, it is not really long, this one, because there's still so many things that on pending, and they're trying to check whether what would be the tax treatment. All right, so we will open our questions and answers. If you guys, you can type your questions on the box. I've seen we have 15 participants, so we can start answering the questions. If you can also have an option to unmute yourselves, and this is the time that we will answer any of your questions. Okay, we have, oh, I love that question. Thank you, Kalar. I hope I pronounced your name right. The question is, on what date does the PPP loan become taxable income for the business? This is a very good question. Okay, so the on the day that their bank forgives, on the day SBA approves forgiveness, or retroactively to the day of the PPP loan was received. Okay, just a reminder, the forgivable loan, if it's 100,000 that is forgiven, it is not a taxable income once you receive it. For example, I own an ABC LLC company. I don't need to pay any taxes of those, okay? That $100,000. However, okay, from, let's say it starts, you pay yourself from June to December 31, you issue yourself $1,000 monthly. So from June, July, August, September, October, November, December, that's 7 months. Let's say you pay yourself $7,000. Even though it is forgivable, it is not considered as business income, you still have to file your tax return on your 1040 as other income on your Schedule C that you received $7,000. Therefore, anything that you receive and you pay yourself on or before December 31, you have to file that. If you're filing a 1040, you have to report that income on or before, so far, April 15. I don't know if they will adjust the deadline, but tax season starts on the last week of January usually, and it ends on April 15. So you need to report all of those income, anything that you paid from the time that you received the loan until December 31 this year. Very good question. Let's keep it coming. Oh, how does, thank you, James. How does an EITL advance affect forgiveness and taxable income? Can the EIDL advance also be forgiven? Okay, if yes. All right. So the question is, how does an EIDL advance affect forgiveness and taxable income? Actually, whenever you have that, the EIDL advance is a separate. It affects the forgiveness if make sure there's no double dipping. So EIDL advance, this is what you call the free money, the EIDL grants, right? Because there's a two types of EIDL, the one that is regular and the other one is the grant. So you can apply both, but make sure that you don't use it to the same payroll. All right. Now the question is the EIDL. It says here EIDL. I cannot, hold on, my internet. So the EIDL grant, as the EIDL advance is considered a grant, it is not subject to repayment, the forgiveness, and thus it is considered as other income, okay? That's the main difference. When you have an EIDL advance or the EIDL grant, okay, you still have to report it as other income on your business. Can the EIDL advance also be well, actually, EIDL advance is a grant. Remember, it started at $10,000 and then every month they change it. So technically, it is a grant money. It is something that you don't have to repay, but it is something that you have to report on your tax return. And then, of course, you just have to itemize that. For example, you received $10,000 of EIDL advance. What you have to do is to itemize where did you use the $10,000, right? So enable for it not to be taxed because money in and money out. How did you distribute the 10,000? Has it been used to other expenses? On your operating expenses, let's say you pay the repair, you pay the other cost for keeping your office aside from the paycheck, aside from the mortgage, where else do you use the 10,000? Okay. Thank you, James, for that question. Yes, that you can count this as a deduction. Anything you put your 10,000 as other income, then you have to itemize those 10,000 on your expenses sheet form. Thank you. We have another question. For the part of PPP loan that is used to pay the employees, would that be included for deduction as business expenses? Okay, guys, there are two things here to be considered. If the PPP loan, let's say 100,000, you use it from June to December to pay your employees, you use the 100,000 and you were forgiven, you are forgiven, right? That is no longer part, as of today, that is no longer part of business expense. That's why you cannot use it as a $100,000 deductions. Okay, that's a very good question. Any more questions? However, just a reminder, guys, if you are an employee, because there are some entity that as S corporation, like me, I'm an employee of my own company. I pay myself let's say I pay myself, I'm receiving W-2 because I'm an S corporation. Therefore, my treatment is an employee of my own company. I have to report it on my personal return, that $100,000 on my W-2. Therefore, I have to pay whatever amount of tax that will be subject on my 1040. It's kind of tricky, so that's why I do strongly suggest you have to talk to your tax advisor or your accountant about this tax treatment on the PPP. All right, let me see if there are more questions. How, according to Shelley, how is it reported if the loan is in 2020 but forgiveness is in 2021? All right, I like this question. For the forgiveness to start, because you will be given until December 31 to use and to exhaust the money, right? So the first thing that you can do from January 1 until October 31, you have to apply for forgiveness. All right. So that's why timing is everything. Because remember, tax season is until April 15, or even, I don't know, maybe they move it to July 15. On January 1, or from the time that you spent all the money, let's say you finish $100,000 by November, you can start applying for the forgiveness already. Okay. Then from January, let's say you didn't finish it on November, you finished the money on December 31. All you have to do on the January, very first day of January, apply for the PPP forgiveness. It will take the bank maybe 2 months to process the forgiveness. So you still have until April 15. to file your taxes. If the loan amount has been forgiven, therefore, this is no longer need to be reported as a tax income only if you are not an employee of your company. Okay? So that is how it's going to be reported. Wait until what? April 15 before you file your taxes. But like what I've said, they might adjust it. So July 15, I mean, hopefully like what they did this year, if they extend it, the better. But I'm sure the forgiveness processing will not take as long as tax filing. So you have to wait. Now, Christopher, I would like to ask another question based on the frequently asked question. Christopher, what if it's not forgiven? Okay, if it's not forgiven, since you are given until October 31, if you will not be forgiven with that, it is not an income. It's not a taxable income. It will fall on your balance sheet. It is cash injection on the balance sheet, and then this will be treated as a regular loan. It's not going to be an income. It will fall on your balance sheet. All right. Thank you, Shelly. Now with Miss Raquel, I think it's Raquel. I did not hear a response to the first question. Okay, all right, we're gonna repeat. First question, and as you said, timing is everything. Business taxes are due on March 15. So for a corporation, not a sole okay, on what? So the question is, so for a corporation, not a sole proprietor, on what date does the PPP loan become taxable income for the business? On the day their bank forgives it, on the day the SBA approves forgiveness, or retroactively to the day the PPP loan was received? On what date does the PPP loan become taxable income for the business? That the taxable, if it's going to be taxable only, like what they said across the board, this is not a taxable income. Okay, whether if it's forgiven or not, it is not a taxable income if you use it to pay to cover your employees' cost. All right, so that's why you said business taxes are due on March 15. Not all business taxes are due on March 15. The only one that are due on March 15, the way we do it are what? Partnership return 1065, and also the other return is S corporation. They are all due for March 15. Now, if you're still in the process, let's say worst come scenario, they are all in the process of applying for the forgiveness. What you can do is file an extension. Okay, you can do to file an extension because it will give you 6 months to file your return while waiting for the result of the forgiveness of the loan. If it's forgiven, then therefore you can proceed on filing your taxes without paying any type of that. It will not be considered as taxable income if you use it to pay your employees, and the 60% should be on the payroll cost and the 40% would be the other cost. Now, what's going to happen if it's going to be not forgiven? If it's not going to be forgiven, what's going to happen? It will not part of your income. It will fall under your balance sheet. It will fall under either short-term or long-term liability because you will be given 5 years to pay off the loan amount. All right. Thank you for that, Raquel. Any more questions? Counting once, counting twice. I think that would be all. Brian. Brian raise hand. Let me just work with this one. Hello, Brian. Oh, okay, there's another one. All right, for member Nami Kim, if we are PPP now, when do we know the result of assessment of SBA forgiveness? To be honest, there's no ideal. They did not give the time frame. You have to contact your banker because the PPP forgiveness, you have to apply the forgiveness directly to the bank where you apply the loan. They did not say whether it's 4 weeks, whether it's 2 months. So the best way that we do suggest with our clients is to contact them today. Then Mr. James. Okay, with the question of, I will go to Brian's question and James. Let's answer James first. James' question: can I take the payroll deductions in 2020, apply for forgiveness in 2021, and then add back the payroll expenses to my 2021 return? So James was asking, can I take the payroll deductions in 2020, apply for forgiveness in 2021, and then add back the payroll expenses to my 2021 return? Well, the PPP, you are only allowed to use it from June, from the time from June that you got the loan until December 31. There is no carry forward. You can apply for forgiveness in 2021. You have from January until October, but one of the regulations, you need to use 60% of that at least, and you have to use it on the given covered pay payroll period, which is from June 5 until December 31. They did not specify that you can add back the payroll expenses. No, there's no that's not part of the legislation. Then now we're going to go with Brian. Brian's question: I thought you earlier slide said PPP would be added to income and payroll deductions not allowed it paid with PPP. So wouldn't that be double count? So the PPP would only be added as income because when you pay yourself, there are so many self-employed that they don't have employees. Okay, for example, if I'm self-employed, then I take like $10,000 a PPP, right? So technically, it is not a business income, right? Because you are the employee of yourself, of the company. The According to the SBA, you have to issue yourself, if you're using the 10,000 to pay yourself, that is going to be an owner's withdrawal. So whatever amount of money that you pay to yourself, because technically you are like working for your company with no employee, that whatever amount that is that you pay to yourself from June until December 31, you have to report that. It is not a business income, but it is a personal income that you pay to yourself. So you have to report still under other income because you're the one benefiting the payroll, not everybody else, even if it's forgiven. Okay? So it is very, this is a labyrinth of so much things with the legislations. Every 2 months, they're changing this. That is why, as of this moment, whatever you pay to yourself, you still have to report that as an income because it's basically like a paycheck to yourself. So whatever paycheck that you use using the PPP money, you have to report it at the end of the year. So that's why it is very convoluted. It's very complicated. That's why you need to really start communicating with your lender and also with your tax advisor on what to do with that money. Next. Okay. For owner's withdrawal, all right, this is a good one. For owner's withdrawal for LLC, it is considered taxable income, correct? So if we take out 10,000 to the owner under LLC, very good, Nami. All right, for owner's withdrawal, when you are an LLC and you withdraw the money and you used to pay it yourself, like owner's withdrawal, right? So if you take out 10,000 to the owner under LLC, it will be taxable, correct? Yes, it is not a business income, but it is like a paycheck you pay to yourself. So therefore, you have to report it as a under other income because that is the paycheck that you pay since you don't have employees. Very good. That's how the best way to put it. All right, let me see. We have I'm still scrolling here. All right, guys, thank you for these questions. I hope we learned something today. This is recorded. We will send the copy. Mr. Bill will send the copy to you so you would be able to review the video on your own time. I was trying to review with all the questions. So far, I haven't seen any questions. If you have more questions, the score is providing mentoring. You would be able to get hold of them for any more specific questions. All right, Mr. Bill, I think that's all for me today.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much for that great presentation, and thanks to everyone for attending. Have a great evening, and feel free to contact SCORE and follow up with us. We're glad to hear from folks. Have a great evening. Thank you.